What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Lancer Evolution 4 replica restoration slash conversion. Okay, so in the last episode we had, which was a couple weeks ago already, we did all the main services. It turned out a couple days later, the car started to overheat, actually, and we couldn't really, I didn't have a chance to look at it. Jericho really couldn't think of what could have gone wrong, so he assumed that maybe the thermostat's no good. So he replaced the thermostat, and the thermostat was all filled or gummed up with a bunch of that rusty goop that was in the radiator. He put the new thermostat in, refilled the coolant, ran it. It still was getting hot. When he would touch the upper radiator hose, like now, it's extremely hot to the touch. But on the lower copy paper. But on the lower radiator hose, it was pretty much cool. So what we think is going on here is that we actually have a restriction in the radiator. Is probably all that muddy stuff and all that crud and everything is just not letting it flow properly. So especially at stoplights, I mean, his fans are working. Both of them are working like normal. It's just even when driving, because usually if it was another issue when you're driving on the freeway, it really shouldn't overheat. And the fans are basically for the street travel or being at stoplights. So, but either way, he was getting pretty warm. So what we decided to do is actually change the radiator. And since we plan to proceed with an Evolution 4 conversion, full conversion eventually, we decided to actually go with Evolution 4 parts. Okay, so this is a budget Lancer Evolution 4 aluminum radiator. I know they do make them for Mirages, and there's just slight differences between the two. Mirage will, obviously this is a Mirage, so it will fit in here, but also the Evolution 4s will fit in here as well. The only difference is the Evolution 4 is slightly larger, and they do offer different core sizes, so we went just with a slightly bigger than stock Evolution 4. Another thing too, they don't have, originally the Evolution 4 does not have a condenser fan mounted in between the engine and the radiator. It is mounted actually in front of the condenser. So you can see that's what these holes are for. That's for the original condenser fan. So it would just rock pretty much the radiator fan, which is on this side. So, but this particular kit happened to come with a set of fans. I know they are both going to be on the same side, which is okay for now. They are a lot slimmer. They are red, so that means racing.
For racing.
Red is for racing. Okay, the other actual major difference between the two is you don't have provisions for a transmission cooler. Like on the Mirage one, you would have the transmission cooling option. If not in use, you just leave it alone. But what we're going to do to go around that, because this is an automatic transmission and we do need a transmission cooler, we are going to go with a universal air-to-air. And we are going to be mounting that actually in front over here. So I like the air-to-airs better, because that way it's just, it's not really too, it actually runs a little bit cooler than it being attached to the radiator itself. So that'll work out fine. And eventually this will become a manual car anyway, so we can just discard that later. Why not go with Evo 4 parts right now, as long as they're going to work with it? If we're going to wind up, we're going to change it anyway. So might as well get a head start.
Yeah.
Right, all right. So first things first, we're going to wait for it to cool down a little bit. Going to drain the fluid. Pretty much rip everything out and just install it. It should not take too long. We do have to wire up our fans, which is not a big deal. We will be putting our favorite connectors on those too, just to give it that nice factory look. So, alright man, let's get to it. Alright guys, we are installing the radiator fans right now. The kit did not come with hardware whatsoever, so we had some leftover dress-up parts that we are using on the Stereo, and they are the same thread size. So, and they look cool, and they are red too, so it'll match the rad red racing fans that we got right here. So, very cool. Oh, and I know I mentioned earlier about this coming as a kit. It actually does not. The fan shroud and fans were purchased separately from the radiator. The fan shroud and fans were about $29. The radiator itself was $121, and the little cooler was about 18 bucks. So not too bad as far as, you know, for a replacement. I know the factory replacement is probably a lot cheaper, but why are we going to do that? Why are we going to waste money on putting in some stock stuff when we can put this awesome radiator? So cool, you got it. We are draining this right now and letting it cool at the same time, because it's really hot because we just came back from work right now. So cool. So let me go ahead and let's go ahead and get the tools ready for. Looks like we're gonna need some 12mm and probably some pliers and a Phillips or flathead screwdriver, and that'll probably do the whole job. All right, be right back. Okay, just a little bit of a minor setback. The shroud doesn't fit perfectly. There is a massive gap in between the radiator and here, so I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know if it's radiator's fault or if it is fan shroud's fault. So we're not gonna figure that out. So what we wound up doing was finding a couple of rubber bushings and just placing them in between. So there we are. You have it. Everything's secured up here. Double check all these nuts that are on the fan, so we don't want any of those backing off. So cool. Okay, we're almost halfway done. Alright, so we're going to take off the radiator hold downs. Got just a couple 12mm bolts there.
This clamp's too long.
I know, we'll replace them. We have some new ones over there. That's what the car came with. Is that what the car came with?
Wait.
The
yeah.
long hose clamps?
Yeah.
I'm going to remove the whole overflow while you're at it.
Ooh.
Wow. You can see all that muddy stuff in here. Yeah. Looks like poo. Alright. So we'll go ahead and remove the lower hose right there. Just that part, just so we can move it to the side, and then you can get access to the cooler hoses.
Okay.
Alright, and then now we have our factory hose clamps right there. So we'll probably get the angled pliers and decompress them and slide them off. Alright, just positioning the hose clamp better so we can get it with our 90-degree angled pliers. Makes it so much easier. And that one's all grimy. It's on this side. Or probably pull that hose off first. You know what? Let me get a little pan for the bottom. Okay, Jared, go in ahead and removed the top cooler line. That way you can access the hose clamp on the lower one. That'll hook it up a little bit. There we go. All right. It is hot outside. Cool. there we go. So, well, obviously besides the radiator hose, pretty much not going to be using anything off of that. Cool. Okay, so now what we're going to want to do, while we have it out like this, we're going to, oh look at the old, we used to have the fan right here. Look at, those are still there. Probably remove those. Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to mount our tranny cooler to the front of the condenser, so that way the little plastic cheapy hold temporary downs will be in between the radiator and the condenser. So this did come with the transmission kit, so these are real real common. So like I said, I'm not a huge fan of these because I know these can fail. I'd rather have something that probably bolts on better, like a bracket, but since it is going to be temporary, it'll be fine. All right, let's go ahead and figure out how we're gonna mount this thing, and then we'll go from there. We're gonna go ahead and actually install the hose first. We just measured it right now, and it's pretty safe. It's safe to say that we can just cut this hose in half. They do give quite a bit, so Jericho's doing that. Then what we're gonna do is attach the hoses to the hard lines first, and then we'll be running it around the condenser here, and then we can pretty much measure exactly where we need to mount our transcooler.
Put it on this first.
Put on that first.
That first.
Yeah, we'll go with that first. Or you know what? No, you know what? You are correct this time. This time. Only this time. Just this time, okay?
This time.
Just this time. You're right. Yeah. So that way we can just mount her up and we're good to go. Cool. All right, we got the hoses installed on the cooler, so we're gonna go ahead and run it through here. Very good.
Stand by.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay, it looks like we just had to trim down one hose, so that should be perfect. Bending that hard line a little bit. There we go. Nice. Then we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and zip tie them together, so they're not just waving or frailing around everywhere when you're driving. All right, before we move on to the radiator, Jericho decided to make a small little guard by taking a 1/2-inch hose and trimming a little bit off and splitting it in half so it opens up, and what it's going to do is it's going to wrap around the hoses, and we can zip tie it to that so it'll prevent any rubbing of the cooler lines. And also, look what I found red zip ties to match the red racing radical Radiator fans. Red is racing. Alright, you can see where Jericho made that little anti-rubbing modification here. Looks like a hot dog bun with 2 wieners in it. Alright, cool. And we went ahead and just zip tied up, so now it looks like a couple of snakes wrapping or coiling around each other. Alright, cool. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the hose off of our old radiator and install it onto our new radiator. So there. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start installing the connectors we're going to be using for that, which is our favorite Deutsch connectors.
Oh, Deutsch, sorry.
Whatever you call them, but they're awesome. All right, we're just about ready to install the radiator, and hopefully everything goes smoothly. I already went ahead and put our favorite connectors on this end. I went ahead and checked the voltage on our fan connector just to see which is positive, which one's negative. So on our left side, our blue one is positive and the black one is negative, and on our right side, the black with the white stripe is positive and the solid black is negative. So what we're gonna need to do is confirm that this, whatever it may be, as long as the fans are pulling, so in other words blowing this way towards the engine, make sure it's not blowing, because these are, you're able to reverse the polarity on these and actually make them blow in the opposite direction. So the way we have them, and you would do that if you mount the fans on this side or in front of the condenser, but right now we are maintaining the factory style, so we just got to confirm which way the fans will blow, and which should be this way. All right, man, go for it.
Put it on, and we preheated it in the sun, so
it's nice and warm. Okay, here we go. With that hose clamp, maybe we should move that aside first. So if you, that heat wrap, one time this car was actually turbocharged. I don't know if anybody noticed, but this was the old return for it. When my brother had it, he did have it turbocharged. He decided to, he was planning on swapping the motor. That's why he decided to remove the turbocharger off of it. But obviously he never went through with it, so he just kind of left it off. We wrapped that up just to the turbo was mounted right there. We didn't want to burn up our AC hose, so could probably remove it. I don't think we need that heat wrap anymore. Or do you want to keep it? What do you think? It's up to you. We'll probably just leave it, huh? What do you think? Or can you take it off?
No, I'm gonna itch.
You're gonna itch, huh?
Yeah. Leave it.
All right, here we go. Okay, make sure we clear our hoses.
Ooh, it's hitting.
Watch out, watch out. Pick it up a little bit. You're hitting the cooler lines. All right.
What is hitting?
Okay. Probably have to make a few adjustments to it. Yeah, see, that's why normally the fan wouldn't be there, but that's okay. It's making a little bit of contact with the AC compressor on the plastic part of the fan. So,
It's not even down yet.
oh, it's not all the way down yet? It looks pretty mean though. There you go.
Not even down.
It's not down all the way?
No.
Oh. There you go. Cool. We're going to probably have to run the cooler lines on the other side of that thing. That's probably what's preventing it right now. I can see it bouncing up right there. So, okay, let's make a few adjustments first before we plan it all the way down. All right, guys, it is in, and it is the core's a lot bigger than the Mirage one, like double. So, another difference that we found that I was not aware of is there on the Evo, the radiator hold down, there's actually a left side and a right side. A Mirage uses two of the same side to hold their radiator down. You see what we had to do is actually cock it out a little bit and then just tighten it there for now until we can find the right hold down for the right side. So, and then it fit pretty well for the most part. It's a little tight over there in the compressor area, but I believe we're gonna be okay as far as that. The lower hose does line up. I'd imagine the upper hose should line up as well. What we had to wind up doing was actually run the hoses in between the radiator and the lower hose, which works out a lot better because that way it doesn't ever make contact with the motor mount. We need the hose clamp first. Oh, it's there. Perfect. So, yeah, cool. There we go. Perfect. Very nice. See, so there we go. So what we're gonna do is, like I said, I'm gonna apply power to these fans just to make sure what side positive is gonna go to, so that way we get the proper airflow. Okay, it looks like everything is in. We did have to trim this slightly, probably about maybe 1.5 inches, but other than that, you know, we didn't have to buy another one or anything special because it still uses the Mirage upper radiator hose and the Mirage lower. I went and I completed the connector. I'll put that weather pack in a little bit further. But we did test it, and the fan direction is going the right way. So we did fill it up with a coolant, and now we're going to start her up and yeah, go from there. Go ahead and leave the AC off. Cool. Temperature's good.
Mm-hmm.
Temperature's good. Should be the opening right now. There. Should be turning on right now. There we go. Wow, I really feel the heat coming off of that. Nice. It's already actually cycled a couple times. It kind of takes forever now because it's a little bit better on the cooling, so the fans don't come on as often as they normally did before. So just waiting for it to turn off right now before we put the radiator cap back on. There we go. All right, guys, been driving around for a little bit, and it's actually running a little bit cooler than normal. Usually, like on mine, I'm at least one more little tick up on my temperature. Seems to be doing okay for the amount of time it's been running. Jericho tells me it definitely should have overheated by now if it was going to. So we're just gonna drive around the island a little bit and let's go from there. But it seems like it's gonna be okay. Our shifting is good, cool. Our level was fine. So all right, man. Well, I hope you enjoyed this short video, and a lot more to come on this one. But I think we're good on it for now. We just wanted to make sure that, you know, Jericho can drive this car every day, get to work, get to and from work for now, just until we start collecting parts for this one. But now I can say, let's get back to the Stereo.
Yeah.
Back to the Stereo.
Back to the stereo.
All right, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave any comment you have below, or like always, let your hate flow. So, all right, guys. Have a good one.